So is everybody ready for a seventh inning stretch for the day? Everybody's got a couple of hours after lunch and settling in. Eyes are probably getting a little heavy. Well, hopefully you'll see a few things today that gives you some interest. I'm going to be trying to go through this as fast as possible so we can potentially get to some question and answers. That's me assuming that I have interesting enough stuff here that you want to ask questions about. So I'm Dave Willard. I work at HNTB within a small group called Immersive Media Solutions. We do have visualization services within our team, but we focus a little bit differently within our team than what our national sales office has. So we have a very distinguished gentleman in the crowd, Daniel, over here, that works in the national sales office, creates some beautiful work. Our work is more solution-based. So as you can see, my background that we have here is I have 10 years of civil engineering, 15 years of architecture, 5 years of wastewater, water, and then about 7 years of technology. All along those 37 years, I've always focused on virtual design and construction type of technologies. Along the way, all those 30 years, I've always dabbled in the visualization world, creating renderings, animations, you name it, for various people. Today, I run and lead a project team called the Immersive Media Solutions Group. And what we do is we focus on building technology solutions for various needs that an AEC firm has. We're a very diverse, skilled group. We have people from the gaming engine. We have VDC specialists that have been in engineering all their lives. We have people that came from HTC Vive and Amazon, all working to create these kinds of solutions that we'll be showing here in a second. So some of the capabilities our team works with, while we do some traditional type of renderings and animation work, our sole focus is to build interactive media. That would be from web delivery, augmented reality, virtual reality type things. We have quite a few different skill sets that we apply to various technologies. Hopefully some of you might be interested or actually be using some of these types of technologies. So throughout my many years, which explains the lack of hair and the gray hairs on my chin, there's been a lot of transformational periods along the way in 37 years. I used to be a hand artist or an illustrator. For civil engineering, I would hand paint things for the customers to show them what something might look like in their neighborhood. Once the 90s came around, CAD started coming around, mainframe computers came around, 3D Studio for DOS came around, and I started using those for visualizations. In the 2000s, a few more technologies started coming out. Building information modeling, which is a technology I adopted very heavily and started training and implementing across various types of projects and project types. 2010s, more advanced real-time AR, VR headsets, and then of course the 2020s and the day we are here today, a lot more technology. So I've seen a lot of changes in the industry for AEC over the years. And I'm trying to keep up as much as I can with those technologies. Luckily, I have a lot of good skill sets and people on my team to help me with that effort. So let me go back here. So for AEC, visualizations and interactive media is being supported through all phases of the design. Part of the solutions that my team develops is to actually support the needs that happen through each one of these phases of a project and design. So for planning, being able to create and use big data sets that are out there for environmental impact studies, you name it. Being able to integrate those into the designs, taking all the BIM and CAD files, bringing them in along with other types of data like geospatial data, you name it. Construction, being able to integrate real-time models into construction scheduling, sequencing type of tools. And then operations, being able to tie our digital twin models in real time to IoT devices, you name it, along the way. Our very first project, to kind of tell on ourselves here, was a project for Cape Cod. They came to us with a need of how do we show 7 different design options on 2 different bridges. So 7 options per bridge. They came to us asking for renderings of about 15 different views per design option and animations for every design. See, if you did the math, that's a lot of work and a lot of waiting time when it comes to rendering out animations and renderings. So what we did is we started talking about how do we actually want to present this kind of ideal and who are we presenting to. So in this case, we decided let's build our very first ever interactive model. This was done in Unity in the day. And what this does, it allows us to be able to, are the videos playing? Nope, they're not. I guess we'll go without the videos automatically playing. So what happens in this project is we're able to, in real time, go ahead and select any of those types of options and in real time be able to select each one of those on the fly in front of the clients or the design and team engineers. So being able to fly around this great big environment was a major accomplishment, and being able to switch in between these options very quickly without having to worry about renderings and animations was a very powerful presentation method in front of the public. The goal of this was to be able to show all those options and ultimately have the public come in and decide which options do they like the best, and then we go out back into the engineering firm, work on those design options that they like best, and finally narrow it down into a final project or design for that project that they want to be able to go with. Today we have the project of I-24. It's a big project in Tennessee. This is a 26-mile project. We've used quite a few different types of technologies in here. If anybody have heard of cesium technology, cesium basically allows us to bring in 3D tiles or Google Earth data, and then we've developed tools on top of that in-house that let us edit that data, cut holes in it, being able to take various things, splice things, mesh things from a proposed model into the cesium data. But what this has done, it revolutionized the way we did visualizations, because before, if we were going to be doing a 26-mile animation, we would hand model almost all of those existing structures along the way, thousands of hours. Daniel knows he's got a lot more hair on his head still, but the technology like this today for us on my team isn't necessarily to go to photorealism of hand-modeled stuff, but to solve a problem of adding context very quickly and focusing on the proposed design. Another project, MDOT 375, another big project. This was one that we actually used near map data for at the time. We weren't using cesium on this. But what we were able to do in this case is create a full-blown real-time environment deliverable through the web, being able to go in and allow people to navigate around this. Mostly used for internal purposes on this project, but it also started going out into the public engagement realm. Sandag 5 Big Moves. This is a big project that I think even Daniel's team got involved in this a few years back, where they came to us for about 7 different locations within the San Diego area. Wanted to be able to see what this is going to look like if we were to basically completely replace the intersection there with different types of mobility that we've added. So smart cars, you name it, intersections, reconfigurations, bicycle paths. This was an interesting project here. It's a big bridge, Delaware Memorial Bridge. This one's, the lighting designers came to us, or lighting engineers, and said, hey, can you help us figure out where these lights need to be, how they need to be turned, what angle they need to be pointing up, what type of light properties need to be in that. So basically, they gave us an IES file, which is basically a file that gives us all of the parameters of the light itself, but it does not give us the angles and everything. So we were able to work directly and side by side with the lighting engineers to be able to rotate these lights from the lenses up, around vertically, place them in an XYZ position, and then be able to export out all of that data back to the lighting engineers, so when they fill out their plans and plan sets for those lights, they had all of that data and a matching rendering that went with that. We do a lot of movement of traffic, so anytime there's a new project coming into town, everybody's had to drive around those red cones. Well, instead of creating renderings that allow us to basically show what the final product is, we have to be able to show the public what it's going to look like throughout construction. How is it going to impact their ride to work, their commute to the daycare, whatever it might be. So being able to take MOT plans and be able to quickly replicate those into an environment like you see here has been very good problem-solving solution for them. Our real-time environments integrate a lot of construction sequencing data into this. We build tools that allow us basically to integrate directly with four-dimensional or 4D tools like Navisworks, Synchro 4D, you name it. So project schedulers control all the timing of everything. We link their data or reference that data into our real-time environment, and we're able to basically get these very quickly for those clients. This was our first ever integration of geospatial data. This is a project that we were going after, 2 different proposed bridges, both in different locations, but the thing that was of importance of these bridges was the navigational channels, all of the historical shipwrecks that are under the ground, you name it. So we wrote some applications and developed some tools to be able to bring in Esri feature layers into this and be able to control that through the gaming engine environment. Let's go back here. Illinois Tollway. This was an interesting project. Some of the problems that Daniel and myself have when it comes to building out models and showing off renderings or animations is how do we collect review and comments from our end clients, which is sometimes the internal teams that you see here. So in this case, let's see if we can get this to play. This thing is not working. It's bouncing around. So the Illinois Tollway project's an interesting project. There's 36 different toll stations that are being renovated or updated along the roadway that you see here. So integrating of the cesium data that we were talking about earlier, being able to bring in the proposed BIM and CAD information and be able to automatically fly in between each one of these stations along the roadways. What was the fun part about this was how can we get feedback from all the design engineers of all of these different toll stations that we've added to the scene. So using Unity and Unity's version control and Unity's scenes, we created a scene for each one of the toll stations, integrated them into one model. And then for the review and comment tool, we actually built a tool that's on back end on the Amazon side for data to be able to add review comments in an XYZ format. So if you wanted to be able to add comments along the roadway, you could use our tool to be able to drop them anywhere along the roadway in 3D. These are all in real time, so we could have 20 people looking at this at the same time, and they would be seeing the comments as they're popping up. That way they don't duplicate comments. And at the same time as they're seeing those comments pop up, all of our editors on the Unity side are seeing those comments pop up within the editor as well. So it's a really nice tool for us to be able to go in and track comments that are being added to our 3D environments. It's maybe hard to see on the screen here, but each of those comments have engineering standards. So if you wanted to be able to change something, it's in a bright red color. If you finish something and it's in a bright yellow highlighted color. Notes, things like that are all being tracked just like an engineer likes to track their review and comment. This is built on a very flexible background, kind of like the shirt that I'm wearing today, very flexible. But it's built on a background that's actually integrated into another database that we built on top of. It's HNTB has what they call their PIMA tool that allows them to be able to collect data in the background and report on that. Project that you're seeing here is integration of traffic information or traffic data. It's coming from an application called Visa. So if you've ever driven across a couple of those black lines that are in the road, the little bumps, it's actually counting traffic and collecting that data. We've wrote a program here that can integrate that data and bring it right into the 3D environment or in real time for us. And what this allows us to do is we can go in a 1-to-1 scale on the time. If we wanted to watch it for 24 hours straight, we can. Or we can go to 32 times faster than reality. It also, things like the sun changes and all that across the day. We also created some data that allows us to go straight to the peak times of that traffic data and be able to see what it looks like at rush hour type traffic. Some of our latest endeavors is working with tollways and being able to do interactive training. So if you were to think about how do I maintain a gantry that goes across the highway when cars are going 60 miles an hour, how do we train them? Are we going to put them up in that very unsafe situation, have some novices up there and try to figure out what to do? So what we did is we did some very high-res photogrammetry scans with some drones, brought it back into the application, and we're starting to create the interactive piece of this, of being able to create training on top of that, identify the parts, how are we going to fix those parts. This is kind of rolling into more of an asset management tool now, to where not only is it a training, but it's a way of being out in the field and be able to access information about the asset management back end that they're using. And then last but not least, this is an effort that we've been working internally with. So from a sales and marketing perspective, or even from an engagement perspective, as we all know, COVID kind of took people out of the mix of wanting to meet in a public spot. So what we're creating here is an interactive virtual environment that allows anybody to enter this space with VR headsets, desktop, web, you name it, to be able to walk through these spaces and interact with this space. The solutions that we're providing here is more drag and drop configurable type spaces, so our marketing teams can say, I want this PDF, I want this video, I want this image here, and I want this, and they drag it and drop it directly into the spaces that we're building. So it's kind of I would call it a WYSIWYG space configurator, and all of the data that they're dragging and dropping in are actually located in a central location, so they can continue to update that data in the back end all the way up to the day that it's being presented. I went through that really quick with hopes of getting a Q&A, even with the fumbling of the back and forth on my PowerPoint. Does anybody have any questions? Good. Anybody? All right. How are we doing on time? Good? If you do have questions for me, I'll be in the back for quite a while here, waiting for the next presentation. But thanks for everybody for joining.